Hello and welcome to our show, Film Talk with A.J. Dean. I'm A.J. Dean, your host, and I have the wonderful, over the moon, top of the class, very, very best co-host with me, Paul Vato. I'm trying to think of unusual things to say. Paul, help me out. Paul, how are you?
Wonderful. You scared me. I thought I'd been replaced. I heard all those great things, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I think AJ's replaced me with somebody that's much better than me. But no, here I am. I'm great. Everything is well. I'm so excited about today's show with Versa. It's always such a pleasure to speak with her and to have her here. Those are all the wonderful things we should say about her. She's amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have a special VIP in the building. We have the one, the only, the beautiful, and the gorgeous Versa Manos. She's an award-winning Los Angeles-based talent manager and owner of Gorgeous Media Group. And she has worked with incredible roster of clients, actors, directors, and writers. And she is a stellar, one of the very best in Hollywood. And we're so honored to have you here. Welcome, Versa, our love. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you, and honored to be here with the best of you guys. So thank you for allowing me to share some time with you.
Oh my gosh, you honor and grace us so much with your beautiful presence, and we appreciate you so, so much. You make this world better, Versa. I just want to start off the show
Wow.
and let you know that. And Paul feels that way, Kimberly, Skyrme, and everybody on Clubhouse. There's also Versa Visions that you do on Clubhouse where you give and are in service to artists and directors and actors, helping them every step of the way. And I want to thank you with gratitude on behalf of that. You give that freely. You don't charge anything. Your words of wisdom. This is amazing. How do you do it all? How do you do it?
It's called just get it done. There's no question about deliberating. It's like, well, we have to get done this, let's do it, make it happen. That's my motto. It's like, just do it and make it happen. Stop thinking and just do. And the energy you put into it, the passion you put into it is what comes back at you again as well. And
wow.
Great.
Wow, amazing. And you touched on energy, and we spoke a moment ago. I collect crystals. I've got my amethyst here. I've got my rose quartz. I love collecting. I mean, some people call them rocks or stones, but I call them crystals. I love them. They're natural. Let's talk about energy. How important is that, Versa?
Energy is everything. It's everything to do with our lives, and every thought we have, every movement we make is connected to our energy, and our body is an energy field that connects to us and away from us. So I can't remember when I wasn't thinking about energy. What is it about the energy that can make or not make things happen for you? And that's one of my I'm always working towards something, to better myself, to read more, see things, understand things, do the things that are going to inspire your life and create the kind of the knowledge that you need to make better decisions in your life. You can't make better decisions if whatever the decisions are, whether in your life or in business or in your romantic life, you can't make good decisions when you don't have the information as a base for your life, and I've always had that over the years since I can remember, like as a tiny child, as 9, 10 years old. I remember thinking, I can do this, I want this, and made things happen just because I kind of tuned into it. Does that make sense to you? That you tune into it and you can actually create the energy that you need for what you want to achieve. And I've always thought that, and things have happened as a result of that. Getting jobs that 500-600 people have applied for, and I've got the job. How come? Do you know what I mean? It's happened not once, twice, happened 3 or 4 times. Mm-hmm. So, where you can, where you sit there and I remember I worked for a radio station and I saw the ad in the paper and went, that's my job. And, 3 weeks later, it was my job. You know, I got the job, and there were hundreds and hundreds of people who applied for it. But, you know, I think you have to, it's about focus, and it's about where you're going to put your thoughts, where you're going to put your energies, with that connects those thoughts to kind of motivate the intent, how you're going to get that situation moving in the direction you want it to be, and in the best way possible, you know, not having to teach you lessons over and over and over again, you know, to make the decision for you, you know. And it meets you in the middle. I think if you start thinking about what it is that you want without your ego getting caught up in it, you know, I think the ego is a big obstacle course, you know. And even though you think you're fabulous, you know, when you get caught up in that, that's I think it's such a deterrent to where you need to be, because sometimes where you need to be is the flow of energy that takes you there. You know, as the Chinese say, you know, Confucius say, you choose the path of least resistance, because that's going to take you ultimately to where you want to be.
I love this. These are secrets to success, right from a Hollywood, I'm going to say superstar, because right, Paul? I admire you so much. Paul, over to you.
No, I agree. It's just, I'm sitting here like mesmerized, gobsmacked, as the British say, just listening, because yeah, it's all true, but sometimes we forget about that. But the power of positivity, I love what you said about looking at an ad and going, that's my job. I have it. And then that actually,
but it's the discipline too that connects it, you know.
Sure.
In order to do the things you need to do, you have to there's a discipline that is involved in that, and creating and carving that time for that to happen. And a lot of people don't do that, you know, they don't carve that time. Mm-hmm. You know, most people, they just want to live their lives, and that's fantastic. For me, I want things to happen. You know, I want adventure. You know, it's not a thrill. The adventure is about seeing and knowing things and meeting people and reading stuff that's just going to blow my mind, because, you know, I can't. You need to change your way of thinking, and the only way to do that is to explore other possibilities, whatever they are. You know, whatever. You know, I went back to university because I wanted to learn philosophy, and I wanted to understand, you know, why we think the way we do, and it was magical, because you start off with the premise of everything that you know about life, just put to one side. And when the professor told me that, I was literally speechless for about 3 or 4 days. I was like, everything in my life? I'm like, everything, God and people and situations, and then that, you know, where you start from is from nothing, and then you build up from that, and that's where the energy comes in. You know, what do you want to put in place of all that rigid thinking you had in the past? What do you want to put in place of that? What is it that you want to create for yourself? And it's fantastic stepping stones for your life. Anyway, for me, it works. Other people may not agree, but for me, that's how I've always lived.
We definitely agree with you. And Versa, this is amazing that you went back to university and basically reprogrammed yourself, reprogrammed your mind and your heart and your everything, and to learn again. I think that's so wonderful and inspiring.
I mean, look, during the pandemic, all my friends were, you know, they were just watching TV all day long. I took up Spanish and French and the ukulele, and went up hiking every single day, you know, and so it was a fantastic energy building, because when you're hiking, you know, you've really got to put a lot of energy going up a 45-degree angle, you know, and out of that, you know, you kind of, I don't know, it gives you a different sense of being. And now I just took up Chinese, so I'm hoping that I'm hoping I can do well on Chinese. Who knows? I mean,
oh my gosh, I'm 2% Chinese Dai, so go for it, Versa. And I should start learning a few words so I can talk with you as well.
No, I know some rude words, but I won't mention them.
Okay, I know Paul would really get a kick out of that, wouldn't you, Paul?
Oh my God. No, I'm
Shit,
not saying a damn thing.
Shish, which sounds dirty, but just means thank you, I think.
Yes. So it's yes, something like that. Yes.
Shish. Wonderful.
Which
How
I
are you
love it.
studying the languages? Are you using Duolingo or are you?
Yes, Duolingo.
Wonderful.
I love it because it's just repetition. It's repetition over and over and over again, and then you take in that information because you get something wrong, you do it again. You get something wrong, do it again, and that's life. We make mistakes. Jesus, we shouldn't be punished for it. It's a mistake, and so you learn to do things in a different way, and you start to say the right things at the right time, and the bell goes off. Ding! Right next, go to the next exercise. So.
Well, it's so satisfying when you actually get it right because of Hamza and other people, I started studying Arabic also on Duolingo and thinking, which I would imagine is like Chinese, where at the day one, you're like, there's absolutely no way I'm going to get this because the alphabet is so different. It's its own thing. And then eventually a week later, you're actually deciphering things and you're getting it right. And you're like, oh, wow, okay. It's starting. And when you get something so strange for us, and you're actually able to nail it, you're like, oh my God, I just pronounced something in Arabic and I was able to read it. So I love learning the languages.
Yeah, it is like that. It's fantastic actually. And it just, I don't know, it helps with memory because as you get older you start losing your memory, but it just sharpens your thinking in a way that I really like. And makes you and forces you to focus, like I've done. I think I do an hour a day, which I've done. I think I'm on 1,085 days. I think today was 1,085 days I've done.
Wow. And that's Spanish, French. I mean, I'm not saying that. Do you kind of go in phases where like for a while you study just Spanish and then just French and then now just Chinese, or do you mix it up sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes in the morning I do French and then in the evening I do Spanish, but then the next day I'd be, I'm doing French, but everything comes to me in Spanish. So I was like, oh, hang on a second, I've got to stop that, and just focus on one and get built up on that and then go into something else. But every day, I knew French anyway from school. So it was just a question of picking it back up again and making it more conversational so that I think most of the problem with learning a language is you need to hear it and you need to experience it. So, and talk it, because that's what keeps it fresh in your mind, just to speak it every day.
Yes.
So I'm guessing that you can say more than I want to eat an apple or find me an apple, because I know that Duolingo, I'm studying Italian and everything is about la mela.
Yes, it is like that.
Yeah. I'm on like day, I think 587, something like that, maybe.
That's great.
Close to 600, which is amazing. I've never really stuck to something, but it's also a combination of Italian, Russian, Portuguese, maybe a little Arabic, Norwegian. But yeah, I love it. I want to become truly a polyglot, or polyglot, as I like to say. But that's wonderful. What other languages then do you speak? What's your family's background?
Greek.
It is, okay.
I speak Greek. And I started, you need to write it as well because of the different alphabet. So it's important to start writing it. So I've been writing a lot of it so that I can refresh, because since my parents died, I used to talk to them every single day for years and years and years and years. And since they've died, I haven't. So I want to keep it fresh in my mind. And I want to go back to Europe this summer if I can, to say hello to everybody.
Sure.
And I just wanted to say that Versa, here in Chinese, the word love is pronounced I. So
I.
Versa, we I you very much.
So we I you. That's I. Oh my goodness. Is that how AI came from? Love?
Maybe. Wouldn't that be something? Isn't that interesting? That's the only
Yeah.
Chinese word I know. So we I all of our audience, and we I you as well, Versa, very, very much.
Thank you.
So I did want to mention your gorgeous media group. We've got your gorgeous media group logo up here, and it matches our backgrounds. I mean,
I know it does, doesn't it?
it's amazing. I mean, we picked this background because it was like a Hollywood stage one, but it's right in line with your
I
color
know.
tone. Tell us about Gorgeous Media Group. How long have you had it? And
I started Gorgeous PR in the late 90s because I used to call everybody gorgeous. Hi, gorgeous, hi, gorgeous. And then I was like, oh, I might as well start a company like that. And doing publicity. Before I came to LA, I was doing publicity in London. And, you know, you got to distinguish yourself from everybody else. What makes you so different? And, you know, I thought, well, why don't you get a catchy name for the company? And then I thought gorgeous seems like the appropriate thing because it was PR and you want to make everybody look gorgeous. So you might as well connect it all, you know. And so people would call up and go, you know, you'd answer the phone, hello, gorgeous. And, you know, people would hang up and then they'd call back again. They go, oh, I just love you calling me gorgeous. You know? One of the editors of the New York Times rang up and did that. He goes, oh, can you just say that again? I love hearing that. You know,
it's fabulous. It's fabulous.
Yeah, and so it stuck, and then the Gorgeous PR. You know, eventually I was like, I want to do something different. Created, you know, and set up Gorgeous Media Group, which encompassed all of the acting side and the theatrical side, and that, you know, and then the Gorgeous PR just kind of went away, you know, because I mean, I really love what I do as a manager, and that, you know, gives me great joy to kind of get people, you know, to be seen, to be loved, and to be heard, you know. So yeah, it was great. And it's a great, and I started that, what did I start that? 2009. So it's like 14 years now, but.
Wow. You know, it's so wonderful that you love helping people. You help people with their image and PR, and it's marketing and all kinds of things, social media. You help them get jobs, and you're kind of like a superhuman, you know, superhuman, what's the word? Where it's they do multifaceted. You're kind of like a life coach with everything, the very best as well. Versa, would you say that?
Yeah, but that's what a good manager is. You know, a good manager needs to guide you, you know, into your career. They need to, you know, I think that I don't think there's much difference with a life coach. I think they get caught up in the psychology as I think with the manager is about making things happen or helping you not to make those dumb decisions that sometimes people make, or to stop you self-sabotaging, you know, I think. And to really understand and to hear what each person is really wanting out of the relationship of manager-client, you know. And sometimes people don't always want to have that fame and glory. They just want to know how to get to where they need to get to, whether they go into theater, whether they go into television or film. You know, there's so many different aspects to it, you know, whether you write, whether you're multi-hyphenate, whether you're a director, a writer, you know, whether you want to produce. So you kind of help them along and push them along and get them to where they need to be. And sometimes it can be difficult because people are opposing you. And even though they tell you, this is what I want, there are times when people say, I can't do this. And then you go, but why? You said to me last week you can do it, but why can't you do it this week? I don't know. My mind's not into it. I'm not getting into the character. I said, okay, let's talk about the character. Let's talk about why. And eventually you can get to understand why they end up doing it and why they end up turning it down. But people know that if you're going to call me about a situation, I'm always going to tell you to do it, you know, unless it's really seriously bad, you know, not to do it. Mm. But to me, you won't really get a lot out of life if you're not in it. Mm-hmm. And you can't live life if you're always on the outskirts of it. So the more that you enjoy getting into it and, rolling his sleeves up and getting in there and, getting
Nitty gritty.
in. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's about. Travel, see the world, meet people, find out what their thoughts are. It gives you more empathy when you talk to people, understand that sometimes everyone goes through things. We're not, even though they may look like they have these perfect lives, they don't always have a perfect life. And so when you start talking about them, then your empathy comes up, and you have more empathy and more compassion for whatever that person's going through. And there's a way that you as a manager, you can help your clients steer and weave their way in and out of situations as difficult as they are. You can always say some words that will, encourage them, invigorate them into, the next step, whatever that is,
You're amazing. And these are incredible gems. Paul, isn't Versa a one of a kind? I know I said she's one in a million, but she really is. Don't you think, Paul? Do you have any questions?
No, no, I'm just sitting here, just taking it all in. It's wonderful. It makes me miss the old clubhouse days because,
right?
Yeah, and it's amazing to hear what you did during the pandemic. And you're right. A lot of people just sat home and did nothing, but you really elevated yourself, and I think inspired and motivate others. But I've always enjoyed the conversations that we've had, especially on Clubhouse, and now getting to talk to you one-on-one. I think it's amazing and it's wonderful.
I mean, that was the best part about the pandemic, actually, was meeting everybody on Clubhouse. I mean, when people, at the beginning of whatever it was, it was the middle of 2020 when people started talking about Clubhouse, and then by the time December came or January came of 2021, I think that's when I joined. It was so addictive,
Yeah.
Because no one was talking to each other. There was no means to connect people.
Right.
And suddenly Clubhouse was there, and all of us, were able to connect in the most beautiful way and hear our stories and motivate each other and say just say what was going on in our lives and have people say, look, that's great, keep going, make it happen, and it was fantastic. I mean, I remember there was one situation with Nancy and I. We started at 12 o'clock on a Saturday, and we went all the way through to like 8 o'clock on Sunday night.
Whoa.
We kept going. She fell asleep, but I kept going. I don't know what happened.
I remember those. Yeah.
She fell asleep, woke up like 3 hours later, said, I'm back.
My God, it's so funny. It's so funny.
And there were lots of those, like, hours of just talking, because we were so shut down during the pandemic. We just wanted to breathe some life into what was going on, and it was a way for people to share the frustrations and to share, look, there's all this stuff going on and we're so restricted, but here we are, free in this app to give us, friendship and compassion and direction and motivation. I mean, there were so many positive things about it. It was amazing.
It really is. And I'm so thankful that we met, Versa.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
You and I and Paul and Paul and you and I and everyone. And speaking of Clubhouse, I've got a couple pictures on screen. One, it looks like you're with Lisa London. Is that right?
Yes, it was Lisa London and I.
Can you tell us, was that in LA?
Yeah, we went to see Bryan Cranston's play. What was it? Something Sailing. I can't remember what it's called now. And anyway, I said, let's go and talk to Bryan. I said to Lisa. Lisa's going, no, but I've always wanted to book him for a film, but he's always busy, And I said, what are you talking about? Let's go. So I went over to him and I said, do you have time to talk to us? I said, I've got Lisa London here, who's a casting director who's been trying to book you. And he said, yeah, of course I've got time. And anyway, so I went and grabbed her literally by the arm and dragged her over and said, meet Bryan Cranston. So he was delightful. I mean, he must have given us 45 minutes of his time after having been on stage for the matinee and the evening show. And he was just excellent. And we started talking about, all his ideas about what actors should do today. And and just incredible information about like how he has lived his life in theater and on television, and how he didn't make it till he was in his 50s and so on. I mean, he was amazing.
Wow.
Like
And
he was on television, but he didn't become a star until Breaking Bad happened. That's when he really kind of exploded into everybody's homes and screens. But just an exceptionally wonderful human being who just sat and talked to us. And he said he looked really tired, and he was. And one of the other actors came over and said, "Oh yeah, he was very tired. He didn't remember half his lines tonight. We had to tell him."
oh, bless
But
his
he was,
heart.
but his, and that was the second time I'd seen the play. So it was just amazing. And it was at the Geffen Playhouse in Geffen Theatre, in I think Westwood or somewhere around there. But yeah, it was great.
Very nice, Versa. And I love the picture here with you, all three of you. And it's just, it's a wonderful photo. I love it. And thank you for sharing that with us. And also his journey, just like you said, there's a whole story of his life even before he made it. And so there's so much more that people put in, actors put in, so many years before if they ever even make it. Is that right, Versa?
Right, yeah. But see, the thing that I was fascinated by with him, and we talked about it, was he has been working since he was 24, 25, like nonstop. Whether he was doing commercials or television or film, he was always working. And to me, that's fascinating because he also is of the opinion it's about, that energy that you have in your life and the determination that you have in your life. Like for him, he was an actor. That was his job, and that's what he was going to do. And everything about him connected to him being an actor. And I really believe that's the way that he is. He was, he owned who he was as an actor. And so, the universe provides in a way when you're so committed like that. And that's it. It's like you want to be a doctor, so you do the work, you go to school, be a doctor, and then you're out in the world being a doctor. It's no different. I don't know why people seem to think that acting is like way over there, and you only need to do an hour a day or half an hour a day or 1 hour a week to think that you're an actor. No, you got to do it every single day. You got to write every single day. Graham Greene wrote 45 books. He wrote 300 words every single day of his life, 7 days a week. Those books don't get written in your head. They get written on the page, And that's the same with acting. You've got to be working and getting out there with that mindset that says, I want to be a working actor. And when you turn up like that, that's what happens. It moves you into that space all the time. And Glenn Morshow was like that. Glenn and I've become very good friends, and of course from Clubhouse. And he's the same. He's so driven. Like, this is what I do. I'm an actor. And he's been around for, he's worked since he was 18, 19 years old. Was he 60 something now? And so he's worked nonstop since then. And that's the way you've got to think about it. It's just the path and the journey of the actor is that you move in and out of these spaces. And that's, whether it's theater or film or television, you become different people, because that's the job of an actor. You take on that character and you transform into that character to create, entertainment, if you like, or to create that film or that television or, the play. When you see a play and you see people really good at what they do, like Brian was, and like, so many plays that I've seen over the last few years, it's magical. I mean, there's something really extraordinary about it, because you then totally focused in that moment. And when you're watching them, I mean, nowadays it's not so much about the talent, it's about celebrity. And I find that a bit sad, I mean, I know when I was growing up, you hear the word Robert De Niro and you'd be lined up at the cinema with everybody else wanting to see his film. It doesn't kind of work like that anymore, and because people are so committed to their craft that passion, the energy they brought to it, brought everyone else in, with them. And it's the same when I was doing publicity with a lot of musicians. It's the same. There's something about the passion that they bring, the energy that they bring with what they do that connects to everybody. And that's what it's about. That's what we were talking about earlier, about the energy. When you sing a song with, when Adele put out her album, everybody went crazy around the world, like billion views on YouTube. But the way she sang it from her heart and soul, it was undeniable. You had to listen to it. You were drawn to it. You kept playing it over and over again because everything she said connected you to her. But what you're connecting to is the emotional energy that lives in that song.
Absolutely.
And in the word, like if you're an actor, your words hold truths, and that's how they connect to people, because there's something about the energy and the word and the ownership when you're in that space, when you own it, whoever you are, right? When you own it, that's when you emit those words and you're believable, because there's nothing like it. You can't identify you as something else when an actor and even a director or a painter, when they're there in that moment, there's a zone that they get into, and as a writer, it happens too. And when you're in that zone, everything connects, the whole world connects to you. And that's what I absolutely love about it,
I love it too. And I love that you said, and you're right, it is magical. I love getting lost in movies. And you mentioned Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. And like, for instance, in Heat, I can watch that movie over and over again because those actors, they're so fine. I get lost in that story. It's believable.
Yes.
Right, we're there along with the journey, with the ride of them. And I love that. And it is true magic. Don't you think so, Paul?
Yeah, of course. I love it. And it's so true, the way Versa speaks to treating it like a job, really. I mean, we should be doing something to forward our career. Most people work 8 hours, maybe 10, 12 hours a day, and they're going somewhere doing something they don't even enjoy. And here we are sometimes taking a day off because, I don't have an audition. I don't have anything to do today. But you can always, especially as actors, because it's not just about the acting, it's about getting all these experiences, like Versa said, traveling, experiencing the world, learning other languages. So I love it. Go out there and collect all these experiences because it will influence you as an actor. I love it.
For sure. And talking to people and having dialogues with people helps you understand in a greater capacity about how it is to be a human being connecting to another human being. I think we're so, like, particularly in LA, we're so, people are so isolated. You drive to work, you're in your car driving to work. You get to work, you're in an office on your own, you're in a cubicle, and then you go home and then you turn on the television. There's a disconnect all the way through that. But if you start talking to people, and I used to talk to people for a long time on the phone. Now I go, if they're in LA, I'll go, I'm coming over to see you, or let's meet up and talk. I don't want to talk on the phone. I want to see your face. I mean, obviously you do talk on the phone because that's easy, but I do want to meet people in person because I think I don't want to lose that connection of humanity,
Yes, and we would love to meet you in person, wouldn't we, Paul? So
100%.
I definitely
can't
want to
wait.
meet
Next
you
time
guys.
I'm in LA, I'll let you know. I'm in Vegas. I'm not that far, but it would be wonderful to share a cup of coffee and break bread.
Oh, I'd love that.
Absolutely. Talking about energy before, I mean, just to give you an idea about how things work. Like, as a young child, I fell in love with the Beatles, and George Harrison was like an incredible love interest for me. I was just, I mean, I don't know, I was very young, like 8, 9, 10, I was like, oh, I'm going to go to London and meet George Harrison. And that was the dream that I had of meeting him. And then eventually when I went to London, I ended up working for his label. So do you know what I'm saying? So there's things that you put in motion. So I learned that as as a very early part of me, that you start thinking about things. You start learning that dreams do come true.
Yeah.
And it's not about this ego, look, I have to meet him. It was like, oh my God, I do one day, I hope I meet him, you know, with an innocence that attaches that to, you know, to your dream. And I did, you know, meet him. I wanted to meet David Bowie. I went on tour with him. You know, there was like so many things. Whitney Houston, I mean, I worked with her from the very, very beginning, but they all have a similar energy, you know, the energy of like, I want everybody to know about me and my art, whatever, you know, whether it's music or, you know, and so, you know, you have this explosion of energy that comes from that, and everyone connects. It connects, you know, and I mean, I'm just incredibly grateful for the opportunities that I've had over the years, you know, and so on. But it's and people think I'm crazy. They go, oh, I can't do that. I go, oh yes, you can. You just have to allow yourself and give yourself permission to have a dream, you know, have a dream, and the dream will come true at some point, you know.
Yes, yes, I love it so much. I just want to say bravo and brilliant. Bravo and brilliant. And that is phenomenal. It's just so wonderful to hear these wonderful secrets of.
I mean, to give you an idea, like I've always wanted to meet Sidney Poitier, right? Always. Like he was like such a hero of mine. And, you know, from the very first film that he did, and it was shown in London. And anyway, so I was standing at a newsstand, you know, on Beverly Drive, and who walks up there was Sidney Poitier. And I went, oh my God, I've waited my entire life to meet you. I can't believe it. We got into a little chat. But you know what I'm saying? That it happens. And, you know, I'm not that unusual. You know, people go, that's, you know, whatever. But I think if you start putting it into motion, it will draw you in. You've got to meet that energy in the middle somewhere for it to connect to you, to say, okay, come with me. Here we go. Let's go, you know. And off you go. Like, why not? There's something about it, you know.
It's really wonderful. It's so wonderful, Versa. I love that. And this second photo, I just want to ask, you've got this great hat on. What was that? Where were you? Do you know what was that?
I think I was in Ibiza, I think, when I had that hat on.
Wow.
It was on holiday.
You look so happy in it. Doesn't she,
I
Paul?
was.
Yeah.
I was.
I mean,
there was no phones, nothing ringing at the time, you know, total bliss.
I love that. And I've got a couple more photos here too. You've got this great hat on, Versa. Was that for a Easter event?
Which hat was that?
Can you see on the screen the picture with the hat on? Oh, okay. You've got this great hat with bunny ears out of the top.
Yes, that was for an Easter event. Yes.
So much fun. So much fun. And then next to it, I have, I think I'm not sure if it's Facebook effects or Instagram effects, but you've got like devil horns.
Oh yeah, that was for Halloween. That was my son, that Alex. That was amazing. And that's a mirror. That was a mirror that he has, that is these multiple lights. And as we took it in front of the mirror, it was just hilarious.
That is your son. We want to say a special shout out. Hello, what is his name?
Alex.
Hi, Alex. Alex,
he's adorable. What? Extraordinary human being. He's one of a kind, that's for sure. He really is.
He's good looking. Is he an actor?
No. He did act when in his teens, but everything took so long for him. He's very fast in what he's doing, you know, and so he became a businessman and you know, and a mogul.
You're so proud of him, and I love this picture because you're both so happy, and I can see now what you mean. It's in the mirror. He's taking the photo of it. How sweet. And I love that his arm is around you. You know, he's also proud of you as his mom. Isn't it a great photo? Paul?
We love each other, you know. There's an incredible amount of love, you know, for each other. And, you know, it takes work, though. You got to work at it, like any relationship. and you overcome all obstacles, and you've got to love the person, not the things that they do, because sometimes they say and do things that you're like, oh, why did you do that? But the person themselves, the heart and soul of that person, is who I absolutely love.
And we love Alex as well because he's your son, and we're so proud of him as well. Go,
Thank
Alex, go. Right?
Right.
And then also on the show here, we have on your second screen, Gorgeous Media Group, Versa Manos Career Coaching Sessions. Contact for further details. Email Evan at gorgeousmediagroup.com. Phone 323-782-9000. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Versa?
Well, I've been, over the years when I was doing PR, I used to, some people couldn't afford to do a full-on PR campaign. So what I would do is, have a consulting hour with them. Like, we would set up, the first month we'd set up once a week, we'd set up an hour, and we'd meet in person to start with, then we'd do conference calls, and then meet at the end of the month and make sure that they have set the goals we have set for them, they would have done themselves. And so it made it much cheaper than actually having a monthly retainer as you would for a PR. So with this, I think, and over the years, I've coached people and had very good results with, getting people focused in, I've coached people in corporate situations who are having problems being promoted. So we got to find a different mindset to get to that promotion. And, and they have, like, gone to amazing places. And, and certainly with some of the actors, and people who are connected to the arts, whatever field it is, we've sat and talked about, like, what is it they want to achieve? Maybe let's find ways in which you can help them achieve them. Maybe they have to go and do a class or 2 or 3, or maybe they have to start just writing, but you make them accountable for that writing. So if you meet them once a month over the course of 12 months, you can see how incredibly changed they are, because the push that they need. Everyone needs a push every now and again. Sometimes we get lost in our own thoughts, and it's really good to have someone to just, like, straighten them out and go, okay, this is, it's not therapy, because therapy is on a whole other level, but it's really about repositioning, repositioning the battle for the mind,
Yes, that's so important. Now, are you still doing this, Versa?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Great. So this is something even I am interested in. I'm not an actor, and that's why I say even I, because I'm not out there with other actors, but I definitely think this would help anyone on any level, because it's about, you cater it personally to the individual, right, Versa?
Yes, you do. Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is wonderful. Paul, what do you think of this? Do you want to have a coaching session? Wouldn't that be cool? Oh,
yeah,
my God.
I want to get Versa on our Owl app, because I think it'd be a great way to pick up some clients. You took the question out of my mouth, AJ, which was, are you still doing this? Because I think it's something that's so necessary, and so, and I like that there's an option, because when I've done a show or produced a show, I'm like, let me get somebody to do PR, and then it's just so cost prohibitive. Which, I mean, I know it's worth it, but for somebody that's on a small production or has something smaller, the project that they're working on, you might not be able to afford $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, or as an actor, like, oh, I can't afford that to help me. And maybe it's not even that high, but it's too high. But to have coaching one-on-one, I know the value of it. So I love that. But yeah, we would love to get you on Owl, and so that you can at least give advice, but also possibly pick up some clients.
Sure. I mean, it's important, because I think sometimes, I mean, I really didn't have that growing up and getting into the fields of work that I was getting into. And I always found that a horrible situation. And I had to find it out for myself, and it took that much longer. And as I got older, I was like, God, I need to help people achieve whatever their goals are in their lives. And it's and I'm really intuitive, so I can hear what you're saying, and what you're saying isn't what you really mean. You could be saying a whole bunch of stuff, but I can hear. I've got very good hearing, and I can hear what you're saying on different emotional levels, and I can understand how it works. Like, for instance, one of my clients was, even though she had that very positive, new agey kind of vibe, I'm really positive, everything is great in the world. But when it came to the things that she was specifically wanting to do, very negative. And I approached her and I said to her, I said, if you want to really achieve greatness, you're going to have to get rid of that negative attitude that you have. And she fought me for a long time. And I just kept at her. It took a couple of months. And then she started to realize over those months that it was a negative aspect of her, approaching an audition with, well, I haven't got the last 5. Well, why would I get this one? I'm just going to put it together and just throw it away, kind of thing. Whereas the more that I got her focused and the more I could get her to understand that going from A to Z, you got to do the rest of them. See, a lot of people, they start here, but they want to go there real fast. And I say to them, if you get up here, you'll end up here because you haven't built the foundation and you haven't built the house to live in that space, to build it up, to protect you, and to help you grow within that space, to give you the freedom to do that. And then she, suddenly out of nowhere, she books 3 guest star roles in 2 weeks, because suddenly that mindset that she had shifted and changed. And because of it, good things started happening. Instead of her thinking, even though I've been doing acting for so long and I've got into some great roles, that period of space that all actors are challenged with, where nothing happens, it's understanding that in that space, something needs to happen, a different way of thinking, because you can go through life and suddenly there's a pause that you get, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Where am I going? Good God, And so in that space and in that time, that's when you start reaching out and you start reading, you start watching different things. YouTube is a library of information. And talk to people and find out what it is that you're lacking, or things that you need to do to sort of help you think in a different way, so that space is, you need that space to think, but you also at some point need to direct it into somewhere where you're going, where you want to be going.
Wow, how much do we owe you? I feel we've had a session, a coaching session right here, and that's amazing. You care so much, Versa.
Yeah.
Paul, are you already inspired with everything now? Do you feel uplifted and regenerated? I do.
I really do. I mean, normally, how much I like to talk, and most of this show I've just been kind of listening, because a lot of the things that Versa says just really hit close to home. And yeah, I do. I feel like I've gone through a session. So thank you, Versa. Just let us know what we owe you, and we'll Venmo you, because and same for anyone listening to this podcast. Where can people connect with you? We take
donations here, right?
100%. Where can people reach out to you? What's the best way to get a hold of you if they want to sign up for some coaching or career?
AJ was saying, call the office number, the 323-782-9000 number, and speak to Evan, or email him, Evan at Gorgeous Media Group, and he can set some time up, for us to kind of get together and chat,
Yes, this is wonderful. Go ahead. Sorry.
But everything, you see, everything that I'm talking about, I've been challenged with those very things myself. That's why I feel that I'm able to help, because I've gone through that struggle, and I've gone through I don't know what the hell I'm doing. What am I doing in my life? And so, or I can't get to that place. And so because I've gone through it, I feel I can talk about it at length, you know, and help people in a really good way.
You do, and you can, and you're the very best at it. And I want to thank you so much, Versa. I do have one question that I wanted to ask you on behalf of another superstar, another rock star, Kimberly Skyrme, casting director, C.S.A. And Kimberly says this picture here, Kimberly loves the look. What is your love? What is the story? And what is your love behind the glasses? Where were you? When was this?
It was a while ago. I was on holiday in Australia, and it was taken at the beach, at a restaurant that faced Bondi Beach, and that's where that shot was taken. And it was fantastic. It was a really lovely day, and I was feeling really happy.
I love it. And Versa, do you still have those glasses?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. But it's an iconic photo. It's so amazing. And so thank you for that. So I wanted to ask that on behalf of Kimberly. Kimberly, we love you.
I love her. I have to tell you, what an extraordinary human being she is.
Yes.
She's so knowledgeable and so wise, and just, I absolutely adore her.
Yes, and she's like you, Versa. She's kind and generous and a teacher. And I consider you both teachers. And this is what we need. We need healers, which you both are, and teachers. This is how I think of you. And I admire you so much. Paul, over to you for any questions, comments?
No. I'm just here taking it all in. But I've always also wondered about that photo. It's such a iconic Versa photo that I've always wondered. You look so happy in it. The glasses, the whole look. It's like very Hollywood, but it's funny that it was taken in Australia.
Isn't that wild? Yeah, it was, and being on holiday, I think, you know, there's not enough of being on holiday, I think sometimes you've got to empty the mind and do nothing. And, you know, now we're tethered to our phones in such a way that you sleep next to them, you know, and they're in your pocket, in your bag, somewhere on your desk. They're always around you everywhere.
Yeah.
And going away and not having anything around you, that's, you know, it's bliss. It really is, you know.
And when you were in Australia there, you had it looks like a pink bow in your hair. So pretty.
Yeah.
There's so much joy, and bliss in that photo. And it's like a great memory. You were so happy as well. There's another picture where you're just so happy, and I love these kind of moments in life, don't you?
Yeah, I think, that's what, you know, joy is something that we need to embrace more of, you know, and be joyful, and whatever all of that encompasses.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Versa, for being here. And I'm sorry we have to start wrapping it up.
Yep, I have to too.
Thank you. But we want to give our heart messages. And my heart message is, and I'm just going to be real transparent here and goofy, but here we go. I have my fake nails on, and one earlier, if you look earlier in the program, episode, you'll see it stuck to my chin.
I did see that earlier. That was funny.
I pulled it off. Be real. So that's what I'm saying. Be real. And I also want to give a shout out to Judah Ray, because he's all about being real too, and he loves you as well, Versa. So that's my we love him too. I love it. And we love Judah. And so that's it. Be real. So I'm going to copy Judah and say thank you, Judah, for helping us all be real. Paul, over to you for your heart message for this week.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, we just covered so much, but what really struck with me is work on your foundation. You know, sometimes you do find that success right away, but if you, like Versa said, if you start here, you're going to end up back here. So it's good to start here. And it's kind of speaks to, it's all about the journey. You know, it really is about collecting those experiences, talking to people, because we can always use that to influence our acting, but definitely work on that foundation. And, then we'll start here and end up here and stay there. So
I know, and I totally believe that, because if you look into the history of people who become famous, you know, very quickly, you find that they end up getting very challenged by the crown that people have put on them. And I mean, I was reading the other day that someone who is as brilliant as Tom Hardy, got caught up in drugs and alcohol and then didn't work for 3 years, but everyone goes through that, and because it's too fast, but when you build it, things will come in a really good way.
And keep that discipline and keep that focus, right, Versa?
Yeah, but the discipline doesn't have to be like this. The discipline could be, this is what I want to do, but stick to it. Keep bringing yourself back to, this is what I want to achieve, instead of, today I wake up, I want to, be a golfer, and tomorrow I wake up, I want to be, an actor, and then the next day I want to be a director. Be focused and be realistic, in all aspects of that.
What a beautiful heart message. Thank you, Versa. Anything else you wanted to say before we close?
Turn up for yourself. That's my motto. Turn up for yourself and don't give up.
Stand up for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Always. And
Always.
Thank you so much, Versa.
Thank you, AJ.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
And until we meet again, au revoir,
Au revoir.
arrivederci, and much love.
Much love.